I live about 20 minutes from the coast, and for as long as I can remember, the beach has always been my escape. Whenever things got too heavy, work, family, whatever, I'd grab my old hoodie, my earbuds, and head out just before sunset. There's something about the ocean that makes you feel like your problems are smaller than they really are. Or at least that's what I used to believe. It started 2 weekends ago. I had the whole day to myself. My roommate was out of town, and I didn't feel like drinking or going out. So I packed a thermos of coffee, threw a towel in the car, and drove to my favorite spot. It's not one of those busy beaches with lifeguards or bonfires. This place is tucked between two cliffs, completely cut off from the main road unless you know the trail. That's what I liked about it. Quiet, peaceful. By the time I parked and made it down the path, the sky was turning this deep orange. The tide was pulling out, leaving the sand smooth and glossy like glass. There wasn't a single person in sight, which wasn't unusual for that time of day. I laid out my towel, sat down, and just listened. Waves crashing, gulls crying in the distance, wind in my ears. I remember thinking, this is exactly what I needed. It was about half an hour later when I first noticed something strange. Out near the surf line, maybe 100 yards down, there was this figure standing knee-deep in the water. At first I thought it was a surfer, maybe checking the waves, but they weren't moving. Just standing there, facing straight out toward the horizon. I watched for a while, thinking they'd wade back or move along the beach, but they didn't. They stood completely still, no shifting, no walking, nothing. I tried not to stare. Maybe it was just someone meditating or, I don't know, mourning. People come to the beach for all sorts of reasons. I put my earbuds in and tried to ignore it. When I finally looked up again, maybe 10 minutes later, they were gone. No footprints, no movement, nothing but the tide sliding back up the shore. I brushed it off, told myself the waves had washed over their tracks, and tried to relax again. But a part of me couldn't shake how off it had felt, how long they'd just stood there. As it got darker, I packed my things and started the walk back to my car. The trail is narrow, about a quarter mile through these scrubby dunes and tall grass. You can still hear the ocean behind you, faint, rhythmic, and that night it sounded louder than usual, like it was chasing me inland. I remember turning back once, just before I reached the lot, and thinking I saw something pale down by the water again, something moving against the current. I told myself it was a reflection, maybe moonlight. Then I got in my car and drove home. The next morning, my phone was filled with missed calls and texts from my roommate. He said there had been some kind of police activity near the beach last night. A fisherman had found a car half buried in sand at low tide. Apparently, it had been missing for weeks, along with the woman who owned it. Her name was Chloe. I didn't know her, but when I saw her picture online later that day, my stomach dropped. Her hair, her build, she looked exactly like the person I'd seen standing in the surf. I didn't tell anyone, of course. What would I even say? That I watched a dead woman standing in the ocean? No one would buy that. Still, the thought of it kept me up for days. So the next weekend I went back. I don't know what I was hoping to find. Closure, maybe. Or proof that my mind had just been playing tricks on me. When I got there, the weather had changed completely. Overcast, cold. The kind of gray that makes the sea look endless and flat. There were tire tracks in the sand, probably from the investigation, and a few orange cones marking the spot where they'd found her car. Otherwise, the place was empty. I walked along the shoreline, half expecting to see someone, anyone, but there was no one. Just the hiss of the waves and the low whistle of the wind through the rocks. I don't know why I did it, but I started calling out her name. Chloe! My voice disappeared into the wind. I called again, louder, and that's when I heard it, faint, almost drowned out by the surf and a soft echo, like someone whispering the same name back to me. It wasn't coming from the dunes or the cliffs. It was coming from the water. My chest went cold. The tide was coming in fast now, waves curling around my shoes. I stepped back, and something caught my eye. Footprints, fresh ones, leading away from the waterline and stopping just a few feet in front of me. Bare feet, small, and wet, but there was no one there. I ran. I don't even remember climbing the trail back to my car. I just remember my hands shaking so bad I could barely get the key in the ignition. I didn't look back once. By the time I got home, I'd convinced myself it had to be a prank. Someone messing with the investigation site, trying to freak people out. But deep down, I knew better. Those footprints were fresh, and the tide was rising too quickly for them to have lasted more than a few seconds. It's been 3 days since then, and I still can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see her. That same figure, waist deep in the water, waiting. I haven't gone back to the beach since, but last night while I was brushing my teeth, I heard something strange through my bathroom window. It was faint, almost swallowed by the wind, and a kind of rhythmic whooshing sound, like waves breaking against the sand. Only I live 20 miles inland. I think I brought something back with me. Or maybe I never really left the beach at all.